Okay, all right. Woo-wee. There I are. There I am. Hey, hello there. Hi.
Hi. Hello.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Yeah. Oh, we have tons and tons of snow. My goodness. 2 feet of snow at my house.
Okotoks too. Lots
Yeah.
of snow.
Let me go get my board. Huh.
Just the Now, how do I spell? Oh, I already did this. I spelled dog though. Okay. This is I'm still working on.
My writing instrument. Oh, it's hot in here. Whew. It's like 100 degrees. Holy cow. So how have you been doing?
Oh, good. Busy getting ready for the powwow because my husband's a vendor.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
You guys going to be having a kiosk over there at the powwow at the International?
Yeah, we will.
Right,
So
that's exciting.
that'll be good. Yeah. And then there's a big ground dance in Calgary that Daniel's also a vendor for.
When is that?
The 17th, the Miskanawa round dance.
What's again? Miss who?
Miskanawa
Oh,
is the organization.
ah, wow. That's when? On the 17th?
On the 17th.
Check my calendar. Yeah, okay. So what kind of stuff do you sell at your vendors?
Animal-based skincare. So
Oh yeah, that's that stuff you got me in a suit.
yeah, the bison.
Okay. Ah.
That one's bison, and I think we gave you wild picked rose hip in that one. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's exciting. You guys do
Yeah.
well at these venues and stuff? You guys do well? No?
Yeah, like it's a new business. It just started in May, and I think people like it because it's a consumable product, but it's also like it's hand-picked ingredients. Sersha. It's hand-picked ingredients, and then like it's no scents or anything like that.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's great stuff. I hope you guys do well. All right, let me go get my writing instrument. I need something to write with. So we're going to continue with family, but we're going to extend the vocabulary just a little bit here. When I say we're going to extend the vocabulary, we've been talking about family in a first-person perspective. right? So we are now gonna extend the vocabulary to be second and third person now. So that's how we're gonna explain family. Anybody else connecting? All right. Woo. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, I need to find something to write with. Hello, 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 hello. I had to go get some writing instruments here. Glad you all can join me again. I am Mr. Dress Up. I don't have a Finnegan. I don't have a Casey. But I am Mr. Dress Up tonight. I'm all dressed up for Blackfoot. So we're going to extend our program of family to second and third person. We've been talking about family at a first person and that. So I'm going to put right here, I'm going to put the word knee like that. That's first person. He, like this, is second person. Did you guys all see that? Do I need to write bigger or Ian? You guys can all see this? Do I need to write bigger?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, all right. Now, this is third person right here, is the ooh. Okay? Whenever you talk about yourself, in a sense that when you're talking about something in Blackfoot, first person is always going to start off with knee.
Sorry,
Okay, knee. And then the second person that you're going to be talking about is gi. So you and I, you're the second person. Okay. The third person is another individual. So you and I are first, second, and then there's a third. Okay. And we're going to stay with that family. We're not going to confuse anymore of how the language works and that. So we're going to remain with the family and that. But understand that the language operates in this pattern. Ni, gi, and oo. Okay, ni, point to yourself, ni.
Knee.
Ni, and point across to a person, second
Gi.
person, okay? That's gi. Okay, now point away, and that's a third person.
Ooh.
Ni, gi, you and I, and then ooh. Okay, so that's what we're going to do here. We're going to get some vocabulary, and you already know the vocabulary we did from last week. We did family and so forth and that, and we did our, our relationships with our wives and the language with that marriage, right? Brother-in-law, sister-in-law. So we're going to go back to your nuclear family. Hello, Nadine. How's everything going at Safeway? Okay, Nadine, things are okay? Yeah. Anything interesting happening over there, like a powwow, round dance?
Valentine's Day
Ah,
dance on Wednesday, next Wednesday.
yeah.
And we're having a parent conference on the 22nd and 23rd.
What is your literacy powwow?
I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, that's coming quick, eh?
Yeah.
Literacy powwow.
Yes.
Anyways, yeah, we're pretty excited about what's happening coming up here at our local powwow, hey? But I don't know if I have $20 to spend, so but I go in as an elder now. Yeah, so get a bit of a discount. It's not $20. I think it's like $12. Hey, good to be old. So, okay. So this is how it works. We're going to begin with my dad. Okay. I'm going to try and write big so you guys can all see this. Nin. Okay, remember that? Nin. Nin, Tim Scott Sim Wallace. Okay. Second person, this is how this goes. Gin. Gin, right? If you look at it, you'll say, oh, kin. No. Remember that K is always a gut. Gut. Gin. And then a third person's dad is un. Write that down. Okay? So my dad is nin. Your dad is gin. And un is his or her dad. Okay? Now understand on this part right here, it's a he or she, okay? It's not just a she, it's her dad, it's his dad, right? This covers both. There's no gender identification when we say that. Oh, that's her dad. Well, that's his dad. One is just a third person, okay? Right? If our third person we're talking about is a female, is un. If the third person we're talking about is a male, the same word, un. Got it, guys? Very simple. Nin, yin, and un. And we don't point, by the way. We point with our lips. Nin, yin, and un. No, just kidding. Well, there is a thing about pointing and that, and I don't know if it's culturally appropriate to point, but we all point, right? I've never gotten into trouble with pointing at somebody. So that's my dad. We're gonna go on to, of course, my mom. I'm gonna try and write big so you can all see that. Ni, sis. I got a big penmanship, right? You guys can read my writing, eh? Nixis. Right? So, what do you think second person my mother would be? Anybody want to take a gander at this?
Geeksis.
Yeah, geeksis. Oh, it's very simple. See, geeksis. Okay, now take a gander at third person mother. What would that be? Somebody?
Would it be Utis?
Oopsis, exactly, Ian. You got it. Oopsis. Ooh. Sis. See how that works? It's very, very, it's very, in a sense, the pattern of it that you only do is just change the front part of the letter and it becomes first, second, third person, right? So whenever you think about yourself in a sense, if you're eating, nitoy, he's eating, kitoy, or oi, third person, oi, okay? Now, let's go to, now, who's our male here? Just you and I, Ian?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so this is something you and I would say for a younger sibling, male or female. Remember this one. Niskan. So what do you think, Ian, would be second person?
What's that? Was
What do
that
you
for
think the
me?
second person would sound like?
Oh, probably Giscon.
Yeah, Giskan, exactly. Giskan. And then third person would be Os. Oskan. Oskan, right? Oskan. So in this scan, my younger sibling, Giskan, your younger sibling, Oskan, third person. See how that works? It's somewhat simple in the sense
Yeah.
that that's why
Yeah,
we have to
1, 2,
really
3,
listen to the prefix sound of Blackfoot. Is he
Yeah.
talking about something singular? Is he talking about secondary person or is it a third person? And then we have to think about also too, we'll get into this, the suffix sound of it is singular. There is a plural form of that, so at the very end of the word, there's a plural form, meaning that these are my younger siblings. Niskag, right? Wiskag, giskag. Very simple, eh? Almost.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, you had a question, Ian. You have anything?
How would you say, like, if your father has passed away, how would you say that, like, introducing, like, your family?
Well, if your father's passed away,
Yeah.
you would say this as nam,
Nam?
nam.
Not
Yeah,
non
nam nin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was
nam
wondering
nin.
how
So
you would say that.
in a sense that he was here, but he's no longer here.
Hmm.
Right?
So
Nam
non
nin.
then
Yeah, nam.
Scott
And
says
you spell it like this: Naam.
okay.
Nam. So
And
if there's somebody that you know that's that you want to introduce, but they're no longer in this world, you would say Nam. Like my mom and both my parents have passed, will say Nam nixest with sinskas, right? Nam nin with sinskas. You know, they're
Could
both
you write that
passed.
down, Julius?
I did. Naam.
N-
Naam. You got it?
yeah, that was thank you for
Yeah,
answering the
so
question.
if it's somebody that's that you want to introduce as part of your introduction, and they're no longer here, you say no nixes. Yeah, and that's just something, you know, and it's in a sense that in the language, in a sense, they were here, but they're no longer here. But in English, you're almost saying that, you know, they're gone forever, you know, type of thing. The memory's gone and that they're westernized, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're passed away, you know, so to speak, and that. Oh, you know, so. But when you say nam nin, it's it's you know, I know you know, your family and that, right? It creates conversation. You bring back those memories of your family, and especially if you know that if that person knows your parents, it creates some, you know, some kind of dialogue, you know, between you and that person. And you know, we used to hang on the cars together, and we used to cook fried bread together. You had the best recipe of fried bread.
Used to go to
know.
Babs.
Yeah. We used to hang around the Sundance and make a few rounds, you know. So, okay, moving on. This is for all the females. This is your word for younger sibling, and you should know the first one. So you go ni sis. You don't say that end at the end. Okay, you don't say ni sissa. You say ni sis. That A is kind of voiceless. Like Gana. You know, they spell it with a W-A, Gana wa. But you don't actually say the wa. Gana. You know. So my younger sibling is Nisis. Gisis. Oops, should be an I there. And Osis. Osis. See how that works? Very simple, right? Ni, gi, and oo. Yeah. Move it. Hey, hello, Zach. Glad you're here. Mr. Dressup back. You know what? Zach
Okay,
and I,
Matapix.
we were in a big discussion on the last week and how we can continue the Blackfoot through the media, right? Through the Galt, I made some connections in that, and I may have some monies for a $50,000 grant. What we're gonna do, if we get that, we are gonna buy and purchase a studio. So get all the cameras, get all the lighting, get all the, you know, the audio equipment so that, you know, the stuff that we're making is clear and precise. And we'll build a studio and we'll just devote all our video and audio towards Blackfoot. Maybe 15-minute segments. Hey, okay, Nixo, go on, it's a connect, what's a one. You still go beat that, you know, and then maybe on during that process and that through the monies we can purchase puppets. You know, there are puppet makers out there that I know of that have native puppets and that. We can incorporate these puppets and have them have dialogues with me. And not only that, you know, we can save some money for honorariums and, excuse me, invite guests that are fluent in Blackfoot. You know, people that are, and we can have some, like a subject matter. Okay, let's talk about water. Oh, it's cold water. You know, it's warm water, right? That's what you call tea, you know, those type of things. And just a continuous dialogue, so that we'll have maybe 15-minute, 20-minute segments and that. And there's just so many subjects we can carry, you know, that we can cover over that time period. And then, you know what?
That's amazing news,
Put
Julius.
them out into the, you know, into the world.
Yeah.
You know, and then the schools can have access to them through, you know, like most schools have this big old thing and that. You know, they're doing lessons on, let's say, for instance, maybe we can do Jolly Phonics, indeed, in Blackfoot, but with the Blackfoot sounds, right? The G, you know, the K, right? The B sound is the P. The two I's that make the E sound, right? So we can, you know, develop some kind of a system so that, you know, you can understand, you know, the writing component of it and also the speaking. And just generate lots and lots of stuff out there and get it out, you know, and anybody can access that through the World Wide Web. If you're going to go to Germany, okay, there I am, all the way in Germany. You're going to go to Japan there for a couple of weeks. You want to learn Blackfoot in Japan? There you go. There's some Blackfoot speaking. At the Gulf, when we were doing the Zoom, we had people from as far away as California. In California, there was a lady from Siksika whose son works as a physicist. And apparently how does this go? He discovered something in space, okay? Some kind of a sound in space that they found. Well, that discovery that he had found and that through his work was on a show called The Big Bang Theory. I don't watch that, but it's called The Big Bang Theory. But there was a segment of his discovery that was on that show where they actually heard something in outer space. Well, that man was actually Siksikaikoan, his Blackfoot man. His mother is Siksikaki, and she was on my Zoom. I thought that was very neat. All the way to California.
Is his name Corey?
What's the last name?
I forget his last name. It escapes me, but
Scalp Block? Is that?
No, I don't think it's Scalp Block. It might be. He might be a Scalp Block, but I think he goes by a different last name. I got him on Instagram, but
Let
me see. Let me look at it.
She's still very fluent in her language, and how he lost the language is that because when his son moved away to go to school, he followed right. You know, he went and lived with him, and he went to the school. And then when he found work in California with the observatories and that and so forth, he just stayed. You know, and then he's just hasn't reconnected with his, you know, his language and that. And you can only go to Siksika and visit for a while, then he goes back to his. But he's very fluent.
I think it goes by Corey Gray.
Gray?
Gray at Gray.
Yeah. Okay. That could be his
Check
name.
him out on Instagram. Follow him.
He's made some discoveries. So, you know, he found sound in the solar systems. When you hear sounds in the solar systems, and that they figure the sound that comes from, let's say, the stars, by the time it gets here, it's traveled over 1 million years. Figure that out. So if something calls,
that's crazy about light.
yeah, and he's calling from a star from like the star of Betelgeuse. You know the planet.
Oh yeah, it's in Orion.
Betelgeuse and that, and they'll say, "Hello, okay." No, it's not gonna do. Oh, I'm calling from Betelgeuse. Oh, you guys got Indians over there? Because they say we came from the stars, you know that, eh?
Yeah.
That's the story, yeah. That we came from the stars. Okay, where are we? We're kind of getting away from her. So, ni, gi, and u. The pattern, ni. What do you sound? Gi.
I
That's
sound
the second person.
you.
Third person is
Ooh.
ooh. That person over there. Ooh. Okay, so This says female, that's what you say. This is our big brother.
Nisisa. Oh.
Nix. There's a glottal there.
Ni-
And then
ni-
your older, like the second person, older brother is geese. And then of course, oops. Very simple, right? Neats, geese, and oops.
Nix. Is.
Yeah, nix. Remember that one? Nix. And now, okay, let's move along. You guys, we already know this already. We're just kind of, it makes it easier that you already know first person, right? And then, of course, this is your older sister is Ninsta. Nints.
Ninsta.
Nints. And then, of course, second person is Gins.
Gins.
And what do you think the third person would be? Anybody want to gander?
Winst.
Ons. That's Ian's older sister, Unst.
Und-
And Ginst, second person, right? Now, this is where it really gets a little bit, we're not gonna butcher the language and that to make it sound kind of ugly. So Nox is gonna be different from what we have here. Ni, the gi, and the u, okay? So that only counts for the third person, okay? So Nach is your grandparents, remember that? Nach.
Nax.
And of course, your second person is Gachs. This is where it kind of changes a little bit right here. You don't say the oo there, you put ma. Machs.
Max.
Yeah, machs, third person. That's the only difference in this one here is the M right here. It sounds different than to say it the other way. Ooh. Machs, third person.
Max.
Yeah, machs. And there it is, guys. My goodness, you guys are going to be Blackfoot speakers by the end of this. We'll have a big graduation ceremony. The Friendship Center will get you guys some certificates. And then they'll say, hey, you guys were the first, well, actually, you guys are the second class of mine. We tried to have an in-person class here upstairs, and only 3 people showed up all year. And then one of them skipped out, and he never went back. Then I had 2 people left. And then the other one went on a boxing. He went on the boxing thing. He was a boxer. And then, of course, he probably got busted up and then come back. And they only had 1 student right until the end of June. And if you ever want to meet her, to go to the bank on the north side, the Scotia Bank on the north side across from the, she works there. She was one of my students. So when I can say her name, just say Oki. And if she says Oki back, that's her. That's my student. All right, so you guys got that, eh? Can I tear this off? We're gonna move on to the next one.
Go.
Okay. I wanted to tear it, I'm gonna leave it here. Okay, now here is some new vocabulary. We're all still in the family now, okay? We're still in the family. When we say my relative, you say ni su gu wa. Nixu gu. My relative, Nixu gu. Actually, this one here. My relatives. So these are like your cousins, first, second cousins, people within your, your your family structure, your mom and dad's, you know, their sisters and that, and all the siblings that they have. Those are all your relatives. Nixugoa. The word Nixugoa can also be used at an opening speech. If you're a public speaker, and if you are going to address an audience in that, right? In order for you to capture the attention of, you know, this audience and their Blackfoot speaking and that, say, oh, okay, Nixugoa. Leave out the M. Okay, Nixugoa. So what you're saying is, hello, welcome. Because did you know Oki means welcome also too? When somebody, it's an old word of that, when somebody's knocking on your teepee, ring the doorbell in your teepee, and then the person is, okay. So what that means is that welcome, right? Beat. And that person will go inside the teepee, okay, so it's only that, you know, why are you here, right? So we'll say, okay, Nixugoa. Welcome, relatives. Greetings, my relatives. Okay. So use that in the sense that, yeah, Ian.
When you say Nitukuam, is that singular?
No, that's singular. Yeah, my relative, Nixugoa. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
and then Nitukuax is like
All your,
plural?
yeah, all
Okay.
your plural. Yeah, Nixugoax are all your relatives. Yeah.
Hmm,
So
okay.
there's a group of people over there that are kind of hovering around, and they're, you know, they're in a vehicle, and somebody doesn't know them, you know, they're showed up at your barbecue, you know. And so I said, the cakes will mix it. Where are those people? The cakes. And you'll say, oh, those Nixu go ahead. Nixu go ahead. Those are my relatives. Oh, it's just like I said. This is like that too. You know, ask them to come. My relative, Nixu go ahead. Okay, now this one here is it's kind of nim. This is kind of a nim ba beam. Nim ba beam. It's kind of a hard word to say here. After that N-I, there's an O-H, M-O-H. Nim ba beam. These are your sisters / brothers. Nimchpapim. So Nimchpapim Zach, Nimchpapim Nadine, Nimchpapim Gabriel, right? That's how you use that word, right? Nimchpapim. This is my sister, Nimchpapim. You use that when somebody's curious about the person that's beside you. So I think I'm gonna do that for you. Oh, Nimchpapim. It's my sister, right? Nimchpapim. First person, remember. Wait, just give me a minute. It's trying to get noisy over here. Okay, Nixu Gua Nemchpapi. Now here's another one I want you to get familiar with too. Yeah, the other door. That side, yeah. Yeah. There you go. Yeah. They have a foster parent program happening here at the center, and that lots of folks here. Okay. Ni Chik Gua. Ni Chik Gua. Ni Chik Gua. What does that mean? These are my community. or slash your neighbors. This is your community. That you
Would it be
live
like a clan too, or something? Like your clan, or
in. No, clan would be something different than these are
like family?
something within your community. Like I live in a community called Old Agency, okay? And it's quite a big community. It comes all the way to the Lethbridge, just back here. So it's Old Agency, right? So if I live in the community of stand up, it's stand up, right? So this is the community that you live in. We live in a bigger community, macro of Lethbridge, right? It's Lethbridge and everybody that lives in here, right? This is your community. But if you live in, what's that sub-community out here on the west side? When I first moved to the west side, we lived in the Indian Battle Heights, I think they call it. So in the Indian Battle Heights, that was my community. And then, so to speak, if you're part of the communities that are just now established themselves, that are kind of south of the west side there, it's in Chichikwa, I'm not too sure what they call coal banks now, on that side of the town. So in Chichikwa, right? So think of your community in that. If you're from Moses Lake,
Nichishkwa is sweet to be.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're from the Bullhorn area, Nichishkwa, Bullhorn, right? And all the people that are in that community. If you're from Moses Lake, Nichishkwa, Moses Lake, Moccasin Flat.
What's the difference between Nitsichwa and Nitomachtutu?
What's that?
What's the difference between Nitsichwa and Nitomachtutu?
Well, Nitomachtutu and that is where you're from, right? Nitomachtutu, Gaina. Nitsichwa, my community, there's, the bigger community is Gaina, right? But then the community that you live in, is Moses Lake, Bullhorn, Suitapi, those areas. Me, when they call it Old Agency, they say Akaksama, the people of that area. Nichikoa Akaksama, the people of that area, right? Nichikoa. Got it, guys? Let's have a drink here. So those are our new vocabulary, okay? Now, we're going to do something more familiar. We're going to do the same thing that we did with the first page. We're just going to expand our children. Right here. Can you guys see that? Is it focused?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, so when you say my dad, my children, you say nukus. That's me, right? So the test, I suppose, is what is your children or your child? Anybody have a gander on this?
Gugusa.
What's that?
Gugusa.
Goose. Yeah, goose.
Gugus.
Yeah, goose. And what about third person child? Goose. Goose. Yeah. Okay, let's put it down. Now these are, of course, your children. The children was me, he, and of course, oo. So my child is new goose. Excuse me. Why not say the SA, okay? No goose.
No
Okay?
boots.
Yeah, no goose. And then Goo. Goose. And of course, third is ooh. Goose. Ooh, goose. Okay. My child, no goose. Go goose, your child. And goose. No goose, goose, goose. You just have to change the ni, gi, and u, and it's first, second, and third person. Now remember, these are singular, right? When you start to put the x, nuku 6, cuckoo 6, and uku 6. Okay, the x at the end makes it plural. Okay. All right, so, and then of course, we have here is nitan. And over here is gitan. And of course, it'll be utan. Utan. To make this thing plural, you'll say nitanix. Nitanix. Gitanix, third, second person, gitanix, and then utanix. To make that plural. I haven't seen Sue in that. I've had all this typed out, and I've been wanting to see her to get it all the stuff emailed to you and that nice and typed out that and you can have your own binders and refer to them every once in a while. Oh, what does that word again? Nukus, cuckoos, Okay, so we're talking about my children. My son is good. Now this one is kind of a tough one because right after the end part of that word is the glottal. Good. Good. And cool and cool. There's no oo. You just jump into cool. Cool. There's a bit of a WA at the end. Cool. Cool. Cool and cool. Cool. Yeah. Cool. Kind of another O there. And of course, we're all grandparents. I have 8 myself, and this is a goose. This goose. And kiss goose and goose. Already. I'm going to put this up in front as a friendship center, and they can figure it out over there. There's nobody in the center right now, except maybe the director. Yeah, except maybe the director that speaks Blackfoot. And they're all from the Blood tribe. As we were talking, and it's really hard to find anybody to dialogue with it. It's just so not too many people that you can dialogue Blackfoot with. If I know somebody that speaks Blackfoot, my goodness, my English and even my thoughts, my Western thoughts and that are out the door. When we start to talk Blackfoot, it's the dialogue of that in the sense that it's a living language, you can start to see what's happening, right? In the exchange, in the dialogue and that, right? Their ideas, I can see them, through the words and so forth. And when I talk and that, It's a very pictorial type of message, you know, just back and forth. Oh, okay. And then we revert back to, oh, they won the hockey. Oh, the Flames do. You know. But on an essence of that, if you start talking in Blackfoot and that, eight sit the beat wheel, eight seat wheel, right? Eight milk and that. We're talking Blackfoot, we're listening in Blackfoot. And the interpretations are much more different in English, because there's some Blackfoot words you just cannot interpret it. It just kind of lose their meaning. You say something in Blackfoot, you interpret it, it kind of, you know, the meaning somewhere, if it's like, no, it doesn't really give meaning to what you just said, you know, that's where I think, you know, some of our thoughts, when you start interpreting them, and is that what it means? And always, you know, it's rather than having a debate over it and that, we'll just say, yeah, okay, yeah, that's what it means. All righty. I think we're done with family, siblings, second, third person, and so forth. Any questions? Family, Nitsu Kwa, Nimpapim mix. You know, when we're talking about family and that, we're going to start talking about clanships. Because most clanships that, you know, they existed on our res and that, they themselves were probably family. You know, like in essence, they may have been brothers, you know, or some form of, you know, they must have been families in that. And they shared characteristics in that. Just when you say, just my immediate, some of the clanships that existed out there was the All Tall People clan, right? The person that was part of that clanship, and he's got that last name, was the late Num Bernard Tallman. He was part of that clanship of that. And then if anybody knows the old man and that, he was about 6'4" or 5. He's a very big man.
Yeah, my buddy Cowboy is part of Meadows Bitex, like clan, and his grandfather Melvin Wadsworth was like 6'8".
Yeah. Even before he got his injury, you're like Melvin. Even when he got his back injury, you know, kind of like he would lean forward and stuff like that. But even at that, leaning forward, he was already like 6'3", you know, with a hump of that. So you can imagine the size of him. All tall people clan. And there was also the all short people clan, right? And I haven't met anybody that. But I know that there's a lot of people are from the street of people that are fish eater clans. And they call themselves the Mamioiks, the clanship that eats fish. So they must have, you know, they probably didn't travel as much as, you know, some of the other clanships out. You know, they probably just wanted to settle along the shores of the river. And they call them the Suitapi, you know, the people of the shore. And they ate a lot of fish. That's where a lot of the clanships that are from the Laverne area. No, I come from the Mamioiks. Oh, okay, fish eaters. So it's a characteristic of that. And there's one, I laugh at this one, is Butekes. Butekes is a clanship where the people couldn't or didn't get along with each other, that they were literally choke and beat each other up. Butekes means they were hitting each other. So, you know, it was other clans and other community members, and that, you know, they give these, you know, this community of people names, and oh, Butekes. So they must have seen them at a time and that they were fighting amongst each other. You know, and because, you know, like if they were that bad and that, it's, oh, you know, don't go bother those guys. They're still fighting over there. Butekes. And what's another clanship that I know of? Oh yeah, where I'm from, Axaman, Many Tumors clan. And some will say the Humorous clan. That's where I'm from. My grandmother's dad was one of the original Gaxon. And Pete Standing Alone, part of that clinch. Meet the Gaxon. So, you know, like those are families or clanships. And then, of course, there's the, let's see, something black, we do 6 geeks, you know, the blackface, all of them are blackface. You know, the people that live beside the, you know, the Yakukatsu, Itsokubiks, they're the ones that live on the, where the doors of the Yakukatsu are, you know, the art camp like this. So they would live right here at the opening. So those are some, I have one of my papers that I'll share with you, and that all the clanships of the 3 here in Canada, Piikani, Siksika, and Gan. Because I think all 3 of us have what they call lone fighters. Lone eat dates, skags. We have some out there. Piikani has some, and also too, Siksika. We have the same clanships. All right, so any questions? We did quite a few vocabulary. If you look at some of the words here, this is how the pattern always goes in speech. It's always going to be ni, gi, and u. Okay. Anytime you're going to talk about yourself, it's going to be ni. Ni tsinskasim. Remember that one? Gi tsinskasim. And then what's the third person?
Tsinskasim.
Yeah. So
Tsinskasim
Julius, Tsinskasim Zach, third person, Tsinskasim Ian. So when we're introducing ourselves, and that's how we do it, right? Na Nixis Tsinskasim, right? Because I'm talking to you as a second person. So Nixis Tsinskasim Eleanor. Nin, no, I'll say no, Nin Tsinskasim Wallace. Niskeks, Utsinskasim Mia, right? We ought to put that Mia to, you know, to plural Niskeks, Utsinskasim Mia. And of course, there's Emily, Velma, Sandra, Dwayne, Delbert, and the youngest one, our baby girl, is Luann. Utsinskasim Mia. So always listen out for the suffix, right? Plural, singular, first person, second person, third. Got it? I heard some noise. Anybody got a question? Yeah, okay. That concludes this lesson of family. I found this and I wanted to share it with you guys. I wanted to show you this. Our days of the week. Anybody want to have a gander at this? Our days of the week. What's Sunday? Anybody?
I'll take Sunday. Sunday would be not to eat, Sistiku.
Good. Anybody want to take Monday? Monday, anybody?
I can do it.
Okay.
Isikatoi Tsistiku.
Yeah. No. The suffix of all these words right here is xistiku. Can you see that? Okay.
Tsistiku.
Yeah, xistiku. Okay. So what xistiku means is day. Xistiku. Okay. So when we're talking about the days of the week and that, we're talking about a prefix that's happening on that day. So the prefix for Sunday is natui, holy day. Okay. And then all you do is just add xistiku. Okay. And it's natui xistiku. So the word xistiku would be day, holy day, natui xistiku. And then of course, when you say this word in here, what we're talking about here is that it's a rest day after the holy day. Isikatu, you say isika means that the holy day has come to a rest. Natui is part of that word, right? And then, of course, xistiku, xistiku, xistiku. So the prefix is always going to be something that's happening. Okay, now number 3. Who wants to have a gander at number 3?
Oh,
We've done this.
itong,
Anybody?
sorry.
Yeah.
Itong sister kisukatoy ko.
B. Yeah. It means literally 2-day rest after the holy day. So after the holy day, it's our second day of rest from the holy day. Oh, that's a tongue twister.
Yeah, 2 points for pronouncing that one.
Yeah, 2 days after the holy day. So when you think about the history of these people and that, when they're developing the days of the week, there must have been a lot of dialogue in that. You think of yourself, well, how did they come up with these words in it? And who would ratify and say, okay, these are the words that we're going to use in that. It's through the visitations, it's through the dialogue, and it's through these individuals in that determine that. And then we'll go visit me and Ian, and we'll visit and say, well, you know, what's to sit in on a meeting and that. And we're talking about these days of the week we're going to adopt. And I start telling you, okay, well, Sunday they call it Makuikisikus. And then yes, I said it sounds good. And then of course, and then when they said, well, Monday is going to be Sikatu. Oh, okay. It sounds good. And we'll go with that. And through consistent dialogue within the communities, visiting, and then they say, oh, okay, I heard that there's a new word for Sunday. Natuikisiku, right? Oh, suka. Okay, this is the most easiest one of them all. When we start to get away from the, of course, the day. Who wants to go with number 4? Anybody? It's always good to read, you know, to go back to some of the stuff we did.
Ano?
Itawano Tsuki. Itawano Tsuki. It's past tense. Itawano Tsuki. Okay? Which means half day. All the businesses closed at noon. No, something was happening in our community. Ways back. And I remember living these days. And I'm not too sure when they stopped. But I remember back in the 70s, we'd come into town and all of a sudden, boom, the whole town would just shut down right at noon. Again, it's a community event. It's a community happening. It's something that, of course, that kind of affects us. So if you want to go to town and you want to have some shopping, go on those other days other than Wednesday. Itawano Tsuki. Itawano Tsuki. Anybody want to say it? Have a gander.
Itawano Tsuki.
Yeah, Itawano Tsuki. Anybody know what today is?
Yeah, it's
What's
Monday.
today?
Kisukatoy ko.
Oh yeah, there you go. It's Sikatu. Thank you. And what's tomorrow? Apinakus.
Otomo Kisiskatoyi Kisiskitopi.
Yeah, good. Oh, just do Sikatu. I understood that too. 2 days rest after the holy day. All right, now this one here, another community event that was happening. We call this Igadestino.
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 Yeah, Sino means that it was the old ration day. Every Thursdays and night in the old agency, everybody would go down there for their rations for the week. And they would get flour, they get a little bit of pork, and then they get some commodities, Carnation instant milk or Carnation evaporated milk and cheese. And what else did they get? Anyways, eggs probably, yeah. So igatestino. Anybody want to say that?
Igatestino.
Igatestino. Igatestino.
Destino.
Yeah, igatestino. So these 2 days were
Igatestino.
devoted to the what's happening in our community, right? So you know, if we go back to those days and that's what's going to happen, right? Number 5 changed. I mean, Thursday changed when they cut out the rations. So ration day must have been itestino. And then they cut out the ration day. So okay, well today used to be igatestino. I don't know when that the rations. I'll have to check when the exact date is when they had rations. Okay, going back to the churches. Another day devoted to the almighty churches, residential school. Mami is fish. Mami, that's your first word, your prefix word. Of course, the suffix is kisiku, the day. So what day is that?
Friday.
Fish
Friday.
day.
Fish day. Mami kisiku, and I was part of that. I remember those Fridays over at the residential school at St. Paul's, and we would have fish every Fridays. That was part of our menu. You didn't have to guess what Friday's supper was. You knew it was going to be mami. So yeah, I really truly understood this one. You know, when they said, mami kisiku. Mami kisiku, Fridays, right? That's Fridays, it's going to the mall, what's playing at the movie mill, what's playing, you know, that's our Fridays. But back in the day, fish, mami kisiku. All right, now here is Saturday, devoted to the churches again. Du ta tui kisiku. Du ta tui kisiku means, first part of this word is du ta tui, du ta meaning that the holy day is near, right? And people just say, oh, it's the day before the holy day. Yeah. Saturday. And there it was. Monday. Practice these vocabulary in your, you know, and you guys will get the days of the week, although we don't use them anymore. A lot of the elders that are not here anymore are, what's this calendar moon? Anybody? Anybody know what this calendar moon we call February? Don't go to your notes, think about an animal. Anybody? What's the calendar moon for
The
February?
A? The A kokumikisum?
Nope, not Sa'e.
Is it start with beta?
Yes, Bite Gisum.
Bite
Yeah,
Gisum.
Bite Gisum. It's the eagle moon. Yeah, right now. Oh, Cheryl, right?
Kara,
Kara, yeah. Hello, Kara. Yeah, so
the Gladstone Hall.
you're at the Gladstone Hall?
Yeah,
Oh, hey.
by Crying Heads.
Oh,
The house
okay.
beside it.
Yeah, I know where the Gladstone Hall is, yeah.
Yeah.
Crying Head. That's your last name?
Yes.
Kara Crying Head?
I've been listening all along for an
I know,
hour.
I've seen you. I can see everybody there. Anybody know how to say my name is now?
Nathan Scottson.
Good.
It's
And
in
his name.
Gladstone.
His name, her name, second person.
It's Gutson.
It's in Scotts. And then third person name.
Otsinskatsen.
Good. Kene Gwan Utsinskasem Ian. Kenaki Utsinskasem.
Kind of woman.
Napi Gwan Utsinskasem Zach. Napiaki Utsinskasem. What's one the name? Jane, right? Third person. Gistu Utsinskasem. Your name is, some second person, Ian. some Zach. some Tara. some Nadine. some Gabriel. And how do you say that name beside you? E.
Um,
Oh. Source.
Gersha.
Sorsha. Wow.
Gersha.
Sorsha. What nationality is that?
It's the Gaelic word for freedom.
Gaelic. Oh wow, that's really neat. Gaelic.
Saoirse is
Sorsha.
half Gaina, half Irish.
Ah, is that where the Gaelics are from? From Ireland?
And Scotland, but yes, yeah.
Oh, Gaelics, eh? Oh, Anokitapi. Anokitapi means half, right? And then it's in Scott Sim, first rider. What's your first name? It's in Scott Sim.
It's got some sherry.
Sherry. Okay. All right. Good. Now, if I say tu Gana, Nin, what's in Scott Sim Wallace, Nixis, what's in Scott Sim Eleanor. What did I just say?
I'm from Kainai, and my dad's name's Wallace, and my mom's name's Eleanor.
Nitzich Goe All Agency.
My
my
community.
community is all agency.
Yeah, my community, yeah. My community, yeah. Nimp papi mix. No, nimp papi mix. What's in Scott?
My brothers and sisters.
Now, these are my brothers and sisters. Nimp papi mix. What's in Scott? Simya, Dwayne, Delbert, Emily, Velma, Guy, Louie, Guy, Sandra. Okay, these are all my brothers and sisters. Nimp papi mix. Right? And then, of course, I want to add this word here. We all have friends. We're sticking with family. I'm going to have to find out about if there is a female way of saying this, but this is something I was raised with the word. Where's my writing instrument? Nitaka. This is somebody that's your friend. But the word means these individuals were born in the same year. I was born in 59. Anybody that's born within that year, 1959 is Nitaka. Right? So anybody that's born in 58, 1960, 1959, or Nitaka. But now you can just use it for your friend, my friend. So this is actually ni, right? My friend, Nitaka. So I can say Nitaka, what's in Zach, right? Now understand, when we're going to say to a woman, we won't say that. We won't say Nitaka. It's very masculine. This is what you would say. If your friend is a woman, a friend, you know, Nitakim. Nitakim. This is somebody that's your friend that is a female. So Nitaka, Zach. Nitakim, Nadine. Nitakim, Tara, right? Nitakim, Gabriel. Nitakim, Sherry. Okay? If that person is a female, that's the word you would say, Nitakim. Okay? Nitaka, guys, you would say, all right? Now the opposite way in that, this is where it's kind of void in that. So females, if you were to say, that's my friend, I don't know if this is the appropriate word. I'm gonna have to research that because I grew up saying that. So I'm gonna have to find me a female that's a speaker and ask her, how do you say your friend? Because I'm sure there is a different word for that. Okay, and I'm not gonna say this is the right terminology. Because, you know, there is a separation between the languages, right? And if you are a female, then you have a friend that's a male, what's the appropriate word, you know, for that, right? So I'm gonna have to research that. So Nadine, Gabriel, Sherry, Tara, okay? We'll come up with that word and that because as a man, I just wasn't familiar with that. I didn't hear it enough amongst the women. Because we men, we hung out together, all right? We had our own language and so forth and that. It doesn't until you get married and that, and you start to. And then, you know, my marriages and that, none of my spouses spoke Blackfoot. They all spoke English, so I didn't get to hear them speak Blackfoot. So happy? So we got about 15 minutes, guys. Lots and lots of vocabulary, lots and lots of words. But I think it was easy, right? Nin, gin, on, right? Nixist, geexist, oxist, right? That's how it works. Niskan, men, niskan, giskan, oskan. Nits, ladies, nissis, geesis, osis, right? Nits, geets, and oops. Nins, gents, and ons. Nachs, gachs, and machs. That's how that works. Very easy, right? Really easy to follow. And we went into our children, my relatives. Nixu goa, singular. Nixu goax, plural, right? Nimchpapim, that is your brother or your sister. Nimchpapim. Nimchpapim mix, plural, right? Nitzich goax, right? These are all my community members. Nitzich goax. And then, of course, when you say, if you're going to open a speech, try that. Okay, nixu goa. If you're a public speaker, right? Open that with nixu goa. I am a bit of a public speaker myself and that. And they'll say, okay, nixu goa. An old man, he would do the opening prayer over at the powwows. His name is Bruce Wolfchild. And he's one of the elders out on the Bloods. And he would open like this, okay, nukus, nukus. And he would say, hello, my children. So everybody in the audience, the entire audience are his children and that, right? And as a Blackfoot speaker tonight, you really kind of relate to that person. You know, he's really taking that role as a grandpa, right? Okay, nukus, or our parent, right? Okay, so I'll end off with that. We got about 15 minutes. I just want to do a couple of words here. We're going to still do family. Ninna, our dead. Ninna. And it's just our dad, it's exclusively our family, our dad, right? Kingawa, your dad. We are talking about your family, all your brothers and sisters, Ginnoa, right? Of course, this is first, second person, and a third person would be Onoa. Third person. There is a word that we use for everybody. It's an all-exclusive word. This is all of us as dad, you and I that's watching right now. Ginnu. So when you think about somebody like that, it's you and I's dad. Ginnu. I'm trying to think of a figure, a father figure. What's the Pope? Who is the Pope now?
Ganoon Santa.
Oh yeah, there you go. Santa Claus. Yeah, there you go. No, I'm just trying
John
to think about
Paul.
a father figure out there. Maybe a
John
political
Paul.
figure. You know, somebody that say Ginnoon, Justin Trudeau. Eh? That's all of us as dad. You know, he makes decisions for us and that. He opens up schools and all. He's part of the Indian affairs. He's part of the everybody's affairs and that. He puts the army out to stop, the convoys and so forth. He punishes everybody, but he also rewards. So Ginnu, right? And then of course, the noon right here is all inclusive. Noon, Ginnu. So I'm gonna end off right now. I don't want to be too much more of our family in that. But next week we're gonna come back. We're gonna do some fun stuff. We're gonna start to do community people. These are community professions, what we call. So we're gonna be doing teachers, policemen, doctors, nurses, what else? Firemen, what's another profession out there? Secretaries, just those people and that. We're gonna be doing with,
Doctor,
yeah, doctors, yeah. And then of course the buildings that they work in and so forth. So we're gonna start doing, so we'll say Om Nina as
optometrist, optometrist.
Yeah. What's an optometrist? Oh yeah, that's the, an eye doctor, dentist. Right? So we'll start doing those individual peoples and that. So we say Om Gane Koan Esukinaki. Om Sixgay Koan Inaki Koan. Om Pikana Ki Eskinimats. So those type of vocabularies. You're going to start identifying what kind of work they do, right? Om Napi Koan. And of course, there's words that we use for, we have to start looking for words for astronaut. We had a word there, they call it Espumu, meaning the people who go into the heavens. We, up top, Espumu, into the space. Yeah, so those type of people and that, there's other professions that we just can't come up with them. We have to have a big dialogue, like a physicist, right? A mathematician, a pharmaceutical person and that who gives medicine. Is there a word for that, right? Truck drivers, there's all kinds of professions out there in that. Carpenters, plumbers, electricians. So all those words and that, they're
Lawyer.
all new, right? They're all
Lawyer.
new. What's that?
Lawyer.
Yeah, lawyer, ikoya, pikon. That's what we call a lawyer. Somebody who speaks on behalf of us, and that ikoya, pikon. Of course, an
What
is
about-
a suffix, right?
What about
Ikoya
sign language
means that he
teacher?
talks with.
Sign
So we
language
have to start
teacher.
coming up with words for those types of people and that, because the only profession that we had in those days and that were, of course, the elders, gachs and nudixi, the people who were in charge of hunting and okatakis, the guys that sew all our stuff together. But now, that we are colonized and that we're plumbers, we're electricians, we're carpenters, we're doctors, we're lawyers, we're secretaries, we're teachers.
I know. Sign
those type
language
of things,
teacher.
right? And then they're also too, the sporting world has basketball players, they got hockey players. What do you call a hockey player? What do you call a basketball player? What do you call the, those type of professions, right? And there's different ways, to describe them, right? That's why because the ones that throw the ball in the air. And what do you call a puck? Huh? You're gonna come up with a word for puck. Sikopoku, a black puck, right? Those type of things, right? And then also there's also the media, the people who report, right? So those type of professions and that we're going to try to come up with as many as we could. The most common ones, dog catcher. Do we still have dog catchers out there as a profession? I don't know if we still have one.
Julius.
Animal control, So we'll try to do as many as we could, and then we're going to go into more of the a little bit of politics, and we're going to talk about what we call a chief and what we call a counselor. And what do we call a queen? And I think we discussed that when we were doing our Blackfoot Confederacy at the beginning, right? The word Nina, right? We did all kinds of stuff like that. So, next week, in Nakikuan, if some of you guys if you're a policeman, there's a word for that. If you're a doctor, there's a word for that. If you're a lawyer, there's a word for that too. And I'll have some pictures for you all. And the writers, right? I mean, that's a profession too, right? They're the people that write, the writers, the authors of the world, somebody wrote some books. And so what do you call those people? Photographers. So, all these, there's a lot of professions out there. And hopefully, and I want you guys to really, in your mind, and I hope he gets that grant. It's a $50,000 grant, and it's due at within about the next 2 weeks, so we got to really work on it. It's a $50,000 grant from the federal government, and it's really designed to promote Indigenous language retention, and that's what we're going to be doing, right? So the whole monies that we get in that, we have to propose. Okay, this is our budget. Our camera, this is how much it's going to cost. The camera that we're using now, the microphones and the screen, the lighting, the curtains, everything has to be on there in that. And I'll be the one in front of the camera. So there's going to be somebody behind the camera, and we have somebody to edit and so forth. So we're gonna. It's a big project, and hopefully, within your prayers, hey, say a word for me, and then hopefully we get it and that. And if we do get it, it's going to be out there. We're going to try and get it out there as much as we could. World Wide Web. And there's going to be just a lot of stuff. Colors, right? How do you say colors? The body parts, right? The kids want to know their body parts, right? How do you say a big nose? How do you say a long nose, right? How do you say you got big ears, right? Those type of things in that, right? How does it say that, this person is blind, right? You can't see. How do you say that this person is deaf, right? Those type of vocabularies and that, body parts and so forth and that. And yeah, and then of course, the old Blackfoot Confederacy. Yeah.
Nutagan.
Huh?
Nutagan means head.
Yeah, Mutukan, yeah. And it's also a hair too.
Yeah.
Head and Mutukan, yeah. And then Mokasis, your nose, right?
They still call it what spits?
Your eyes.
Yeah.
Exactly. So hopefully, in your prayers, say one for me that will get that money. And then as we get closer to the powwow, there's a lot of stories I want to share with you about powwow. Where the big drum came from, and what do we call powwow, and the different dance categories out there. Okay? Understand that a powwow is not a ceremony. There's no ceremony. It's a celebration. Yeah. There's nothing sacred. There's nothing ceremonial. It's celebration. So if you go to a powwow, And all of a sudden say, hey, you guys are on sacred ground. You know, it's is it, oh, yeah, that's Blackfoot's and that. There's only one sacred ground that we have, right? And that's Akukats, and where we have our annual Sundance. That's our sacred ground, right? The powwow, you know, it's a place where we celebrate and do your dancing. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'll end there. Next week, think of all the professions we're going to be doing, okay? And we'll incorporate some of the words that we're doing. So we'll say, that man is my dad, he's a policeman. That woman is my mother, she's a secretary, or she's a nurse, right? So we're going to incorporate all these words. Well, that person over there is my dad, he's a farmer. You know, so those words and that will start to incorporate them. Yeah, so copy?
So copy.
Okay, Julius.
Good.
Julius,
Yes.
I'm
Okay,
gonna be gone. I'm gonna be gone next Monday,
Okay. Yeah,
so I'm missing next Monday.
okay, that's fine.
Okay.
So, okay, kita matsin na po ba? Nadine, you got a question, anybody?
Yeah. Think it's in my daughter's day. They never come see me.
Who's talking?
You know, they live together, you can do it. For what? Yeah, they come on. It's talking shit about him. He started it.
Where's all that commotion coming from?
Now I can see his book.
Okay, well, anyways, we shall see you all. Kite kita matsin na po ba? Okay, say that. Kita matsin na po ba? Yeah, and then of course, kite kita matsin is just me, right? Single. So kite kita matsin na po ba?
Kita kita
Copy?
so
Alright.
copy.
And I'll leave this on. I gotta end this chat somehow. And we also see you guys next week. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So copy.
Okay, I'm gonna go right here.